I'm going to just quickly say good morning though before I start that. So you're allowed to say good morning too.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
All right, we're going to roll into something. So hang on a sec, everybody, and enjoy watching this wee video, and then we'll get started.
Purpose today is just to give the kids a bit more time on the water for them to learn for themselves, because there's a lot of coaches that go out there and tell them what to do, but it's actually up to the kids to learn from themselves.
Tribes top mark. What is this one?
That says full forward. Why do we full forward, everyone?
So your boat goes accelerating.
Who needs proof on it? Watch this.
Oh yeah. It's like watching videos. Oh.
See how much that moved forward?
Yeah.
Is there any wind?
Nope.
So when you're told to full forward in a roll tack, should you actually do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, look.
They probably weigh more than us though.
Yeah, but it's all relative.
They go a lot faster.
It's all relative, isn't it? Yeah?
Turn around and then I have to do the fortnight.
Yeah. Okay, guys, listening. We've got Sue Ellen from Live Sail Die here. See, she's waving. Right. The main reason she's here is to make sure that you guys are going at 100%. Because if you do a bad tack, you're going to look silly on the video on the internet. Alright? If you don't have your arm up for the top mark rounding and dump it down because she's just videoed it, you're going to look really silly. If you're 6 boat lengths behind the start line, you're going to look really silly. So she's actually the performance coach here. She's going to make sure you perform, because every single move you do is either in a photo or on video. She has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras set up, Liam.
Oh.
So, especially for you.
You focus on Liam, but there's 7
Okay, guys, listening up. It is 11:36. First start is at 11:45.
I have a question. Who should I give my GoPro to? It's up to you, Brownie.
Danny.
You Danny?
Yeah.
Alrighty, Danny. Do you want to show me where your boat is?
Okay.
Okay, guys, you guys got 7 minutes to 2 minute guns. You've got to get out there.
What things are you going to focus on today?
Probably my starts. I'm pretty weak at that. Yeah.
Hey Cam,
Yeah.
how do you roll tack?
You sit on the same side for a bit longer, then you get the roll, and then you go over to the other side.
45 seconds. 25 seconds, lots of boats over. No numbers, 4702, Bop. 4580 is over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep, beep. No numbers, it's over.
learn?
Roll tack. Yeah. Lots of driving. Lots of tacking.
What about starts?
Starts.
Who had the best start?
I had one good one.
I had average starts.
Is this a great way to spend a Sunday?
Yeah.
Would you prefer to be at home doing chores?
No.
I really enjoyed doing the 15 roll tacks upwind and the 30 jibes.
30 roll tacks and the jibes were pretty, especially the 30 jibes were quite hard. But yeah.
I really enjoyed the starts and the tacking, and I think I really improved my tacking now.
Is Brownie a good coach?
Yeah, very good.
Guys, I reckon you can fit 2 more people on that seat at least. Look, there's a seat.
I need my elbow space. Wait, no.
Who learnt off the start about holding a lane? We do that thing so then you guys learn how to hold a lane, and then if you talk to people like the more experienced ones being overseas, they'll tell you how important it is to hold your lane off a start in a big fleet. Roll tacking. So we talked about falling forward. The tacks were probably 100 times better. There you go, guys. Well done. See yous.
Oh,
Back in the good old days,
Oh
we
my
were allowed
gosh.
outside. That was awesome.
I almost got a little tear to my eye just then, just watching that. Oh my goodness, I kind of think I need a moment.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was pretty cool, eh?
Oh gosh, and so we did that back in 2018, winter 2018, and that was not long after I made that very scary decision to take Live Sail Die as a full-time job. And I remember we spoke, and you were like, just get yourself down to Lake Poopuki, come and check out these amazing kids. And oh gosh,
Yeah, exactly. No, it's
Just
pretty awesome, eh?
definitely need to give me a moment after rewatching that one.
Looking
So-
forward to getting back into that sort of stuff later on this winter.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean,
Exactly.
looking back at that, you just, those kids, some of those kids that we just watched in that video, well, they're all still sailing now, but gosh, they've grown up so much, including your own boy, Cam,
Yeah.
who's an Opti sailor.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Anyway, right, let's get into it. So for those that have just tuned in, we are now live with Andrew Brown. Brownie, you've gone really dark again.
I've gone dark again. Sorry, hold on. Let's try this.
So Doyle Sails One Design expert and coach, Olympic level coach, and sailing dad.
Yep. I actually look back on things, and I've been sailing a Young 88, and we've got a WhatsApp group, a lot of us from the South Island in New Zealand, and all sharing a whole lot of photos and old news articles and all that sort of thing. And we worked out that my first nationals I actually coached at was in 1994 in Nelson, a P-class nationals. So
1994.
yeah, 1994. And then worked out that in 1999, late 99, early 2000, I was with the Yachting New Zealand at the Youth Worlds in Sydney. So just after the Olympics, just there, and that was pretty special too. Remember a lot of fun memories of that trip.
So how did you, so we've asked this question to Moose, Mike Sanderson, Stu Bannatyne, Chris Nicholson, AJ Reid, Will Reid. Now we're going to ask you, how did you actually get into sailing?
Well, I knew a little bit about sailing. My uncle Kenny, he had a trailer yacht called Steam Train, I think it was. And also there was Davey Norris, who was from my mum's side of the family. He's a very, very good boat builder down in Christchurch. And so we knew about sailing, and my father's a commercial fisherman, or used to be. He sold the business not long ago. So yeah, he was all about the sea and all that sort of thing. And the local school I went to had a sailing week. So we had sort of 5 days of sailing. And on the last day, you had to sail out to the little swimming ramp, off the beach. I don't know why anyone swam in Christchurch because it was so damn cold. But it was the first thing I'd actually won. So, I don't know why I won. I think it's just I started to windward of the fleet, didn't know what that all meant and all that. But I was first out there and first back, and, I was a bit crap at all the other sports. And I was like, oh, hey, Dad, can you take me to the yacht club? So, yeah, got to the yacht club, and real lucky that back then at what was, it's now called the Naval Point Club Littleton, had a Canterbury Yacht and Motorboat Club way back in my day. And very lucky to have a guy called Ross May who ran the Learn to Sail coaching. And yeah, from there, sort of never looked back.
That's a pretty good history.
Yeah.
So do you still consider yourself to be a South Island boy?
Especially when I'm watching rugby, definitely. Yeah, I still call it home, but I haven't been living there for, I think I moved up in 97, 98. So yeah, I haven't been, I call Auckland home, for sure.
Yeah, I do too. So, okay, so from all of this, you got into your sailing at a young age, you realized that you were not too bad at it and got your dad and convinced him to get you down to the yacht club and keep sailing. What was what was the turning point for you, the most significant winning, or not a winning moment, but a significant moment that happened to you on the water that kind of helped guide you to where you are now?
Well, a few things. So first was Learn to Sail, and we sailed out from a real sheltered bay and around to the main part, and it was probably about 14, 15 knots. But when we got in, Ross, was saying, yeah, you guys just sailed in 25 knots. You guys are amazing. So that sort of kept me going. And then there are a few other things. And then I finished school down in Christchurch. Didn't really know, signed up for uni, and as I said, my dad's a commercial fisherman, so he threw me on a fishing boat for about 3 or 4 months just to show me how hard real life is, so up at 2 a.m, home at midnight, you might get 2 hours sleep and off you go again. And if the weather's good, you're always out there. And then probably sort of 3 or 4 months into that, he goes, hey, Andrew, you're actually quite a good sailor. Have you thought about just going sailing? So I think the old boy did that just to sort of show what the other side of life could be, and actually how good So I actually say to the old boy, he said, yeah, maybe think about moving to Auckland, and I'll support you, blah blah blah. So yeah, that was sort of it there. So yeah, got a lot to thank for the old boy.
That's sure. Pretty cool. Do you reckon that your son Cam, who's now an avid young sailor, how did you inspire him to sort of take it up without wanting to put too much pressure on him?
Well, he sort of, we bought a sunburst when he was 4, and he started sailing with me when he was 5. In the photo in my background, he's actually 9 there. So he'd already done 4 years in the boat, so he knew what he was doing. And we only went out when it was beautiful sunny days, and we had lots of lolly or candy on board, and and got out there and just had a heap of fun, and that sort of got him going. And yeah, he just loved going to the yacht club after that. So we did that for a few years, and he actually started probably a year or so late in the Opti, but he's catching up now just because he's had so much time on the water and other classes and all that sort of thing.
So what do you reckon the key has been to not only getting Cam into sailing, but keeping him in sailing and having him really enjoy it? Sort of what sort of, as a coach, what sort of things do you do to encourage him?
So they've got to enjoy it. So the environment's real key, and most kids just love going to the yacht club to hang out with their mates. So that's been a huge part of it. Also, you've got to challenge them. So I know that you hear a lot, don't push the kids, and you don't necessarily push the kids, but you've got to really encourage the kids. And, you know, sometimes they don't want to go out because it's windy or anything. As long as you know it's safe, you've got to give them a challenge, because everyone loves coming back. And, you know, I've heard a few of your other interviews, you know, and you talk to guys and all that, and, you know, they've had a big challenge with around the world or whatever. And even with kids and opties or, you know, open skiffs or whatever it is, they love a bit of a challenge. And it's like what I said with my learn to sail, you know, Ross, you know, sort of did a wee fib and said that we'd been out in 25 knots. We just thought we were champions. So giving them a wee challenge and showing that they can succeed, or if they don't quite succeed, you know, helping them for next time. So that's pretty important too.
I think we've lost you in the background a little bit there.
How's
We
that?
might actually need to turn your background off to give you a little bit of light.
Maybe.
Don't you love this modern technology that we've got now?
Exactly. That might be a bit better.
So, I mean, obviously the world is encountering something pretty intense right now. And we're in lockdown. We're into week 3 here of lockdown here in New Zealand. How is that, or, you know, what we're going through and what we are going to see happen in the future, obviously with this social distancing, how is that going to change the way that you coach?
Week 3 for some people, week 5 for me. I was actually in Spain and got back just in time. But yeah, learned quite a bit. Like, so say if it's cold and wet and windy, or even if it's not, just through Zoom, and I've been doing a few coaching sessions on Zoom and all that, you know, we'll be able to really focus on the sailing when we're at the yacht club or whatever like that. And then, you know, we can all go home after that, and with share screening and all that sort of thing that you can do, watch the videos on Zoom and really take our time in the comfort of our own homes or wherever we're living, if we're overseas and all that at regattas, and really do some things like that. So I think also, you know, a lot of people are going to come out of this and, you know, the first thing I want to do is go yachting. And I know that that's the same with a lot of other people. So, you know, just making sure we're out there and enjoying it and all that sort of thing, and learning along the way too.
I cannot wait to get back onto the water. I was talking to some friends last night and we were all just, oh my gosh, we're going to do this. We're going to go to this regatta. We're going to do this. And I'm like, how about we just get out there first and then we'll see what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Now, in lockdown, we've been keeping quite busy. And I know that you've been keeping one of your family members, Cam, again, your young sailor, quite busy as well. I'm just going to show a quick video of him in your extremely large, massive swimming pool.
Exactly.
All right, just let's see if we can get this one. Hang on a second. Let's just make this full screen here.
What are you doing, Cam? Yeah, and what are you practicing?
I'm going around a circle.
Is it like pre-start stuff? Yeah? Is this better than the real thing, or would you rather be on the water?
Yeah, so that pool is 15 feet wide at the top, about 14 and a half, and an Opti's just over 7 feet. So yeah, he had a sort of a boat length around him. So yeah, he just wanted to go in the water. So
he had a bit on there, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a bit on. Luckily, no boats were hurt in the making of that video. So.
I was just going to say, I mean, I got a little bit worried there with the centerboard potentially hitting the stone stairs inside that pool.
Yeah, exactly. What was really cool about it though is in New Zealand, or in Auckland especially, we sail off beaches a lot. So you know, there's a lot of sand and stuff. So he did a few capsizes afterwards, and we got to wash the whole boat out. So that was pretty cool too.
And now there's sand in your pool.
Yeah, but that's all right.
So how long did it take Cam to go, oh, I can't deal with this anymore, I have to go sailing?
That was probably on the Friday, and I think we went into lockdown on the Thursday. So yeah.
Well, there you go. But we've kind of lost you in the background again there.
Again. I'll step forward a bit.
So we've got this, we've got another little video here as well of Cam. And once he did the sailing part, he then did this part. Let's, oh, hang on a second. Still learning how to drive all of this.
Cam, what have you been doing, mate? And now what are you doing? Oh yeah. And what were you practicing with your sailing? Cool. Sweet. Enjoy.
I mean,
That's the washing of the boat.
you got to keep kids busy, right?
Yeah, exactly,
We'll come back to your other forms of child coaching a little bit later. But tell me, have you spent any time in the super yacht world?
I've done a regatta or two, and yeah, the last one was Millennium Cup about 3 or 4 years ago up on the beautiful Bay of Islands, and yeah, that was pretty awesome. So yeah.
But what do you prefer out of all of that? Do you prefer One Design dinghy racing, One Design keelboat racing, or do you prefer the other kind of racing? I mean, you are the One Design expert.
I actually enjoy all of it, really enjoy all of it. So different points, like I did the Young 88 Owners Nationals, which is an 8.8 metre keelboat, very similar, and really enjoyed that because, you know, you're sailing with a whole lot of your mates. Dinghy sailing I love because it's usually just you or you and one other, and you can really affect on you know, how your boat goes and all that sort of thing. And the super yacht stuff that I've done, it's just, you know, amazing, spectacular. You know, you're planning things 3 or 4 minutes before a mark and all that sort of thing. And in the you know, in the sunburst with Cam, like we'll be planning, or my daughter Holly will be planning the top mark, you know, with 15 seconds to go on what we're going to do. So it's all different, but yeah, I actually just froth it all. So it's pretty cool.
So as a coach, I mean, you coach everything from, you know, kids that are sort of just getting started right up to that Olympic level. When you're coaching the younger kids, how do you identify which ones you think are going to be able to go all the way? Or is there, I don't know, just talk us through how kid here goes to here.
So from, you've got to be careful when you're coaching kids because you've got to look at them all, and they are the next America's Cup sailors. They are the next, you know, around the world sailors. They're the next, you know, cruisers that are just going to, you know, go cruising all summer. And yeah, you get to see the talent there, but especially in the Opti, it doesn't matter if you're not the best Opti sailor. That doesn't define you. What defines you is how committed, how keen, how much you're willing to learn. So you might see a kid that is really talented and winning. That doesn't necessarily mean they are going to be the best, but you just can tell with some of them, and there is usually, you know, only 1 or 2 every 5 years, that 5 or 10 years that come out that you just know, you know, it's going to be pretty special. So I'm lucky enough to have seen a couple of those. So
which ones have you seen?
Saw Pete Burling when he was 12 or 13, and I just helped him out on a couple of weekends, or the Tauranga kids a couple of weekends. And it's not just Pete Burling down there. It was about the environment in Tauranga. So you can go, you know, there's Pete Burling, there was Sam Meach, who a few may know of, there was Molly Meach, there was Tom Saunders, who's a great laser sailor, there's Jason Saunders, who's been a great NACRA sailor and 470 sailor as well. So there's plenty, and there's a guy called Bruce Kennedy and Darren Kennedy who were really good too, and Bruce actually makes rockets now, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, there's, you know, there are plenty of people that, you know, made the difference. And I think in Tauranga, they won the Starling Nationals, which is another single-handed class back in those times, about, I think, for like 7 or 8 years in a row. And so, yeah, you know, got to see Pete, but that was the environment that they grew up in that was pretty special, which was cool. And then, yeah, there's one or two, we were having a laugh. As I said, I was in Spain, and there's a 15-year-old there, and, you know, we were talking, someone asked me how many nationals I'd won, and, you know, I'm in my, you know, early 40s, and yeah, I've won 20 nationals. That sounds pretty cool. But this 15-year-old kid has already won 10 nationals. So, you know, he's pretty special too. So yeah, there's a few of them around, which is pretty cool.
What do you reckon it was about the environment in Tauranga that has made so many Olympic level sailors?
So they were, you know, Tauranga is quite a small place. One dinghy yacht club, so you all sailed from the same place. Back then, this is way before Facebook and all that social media. They actually had to text each other or phone each other when they were all going sailing, and that was one of the things they had to do. Is if they were going on the water, they'd actually have to tell their mates. So you know, there was a bit of FOMO going on if one of the kids was going out and you weren't, so you made sure you were going out all the time. The other thing is they kept it real fun. So, you know, they might sail their starlings one day, and you know, then there's a Wednesday night race, so they'd jump onto a Elliott 5.9 or a keelboat and sail that, and then there'd be teams racing on a Thursday and this and that. They'd sail a whole lot of different boats as well, but basically they all worked together. They had some really keen and really smart parents in the background helping out, and yeah, they were very, very diligent with their time and what they were doing, but mainly they all had fun and they were all mates on and off the water, but yeah, they were pushing each other.
Do you think that becoming one of the best sailors in the world, that you should definitely try different classes, not just stick to the one class all the time?
Oh, for sure. Like, especially when you're a youth, because being, you know, it's all about learning, and it's all about, like, there's a little kids foiling boat that we'll probably talk about later coming out, and like, that's, you know, yeah, you can be an Opti champion, but you should be able to foil a boat, you know, a different boat, and sail a double-handed boat as well. You've got to learn to sail with someone else, you know, as early as you can, and just keep having fun and enjoy it and get as much learning in as you can. New Zealand's been pretty successful, and I've had some chats with overseas people with, why are you so successful in youth classes? It's because, you know, the kids are out there trying a whole lot of different boats and getting into youth classes real early. You know, 13, 14, 15, they're out sailing 420s, 29ers, you know, dabbling in a laser. That's pretty awesome.
So just want to go back to, obviously, Peter Burling is somewhat well known within the sailing world. When you saw him sailing as a kid, what was it that you actually noticed that you went, oh, wow, this one's going to be a good one?
I was staying at their house, and I think it was the Starling, and, you know, this is a 12-year-old kid, and, you know, been out on the water, and then, sorry, been lost again, there we are,
Yeah.
Came in and just, we were changing something on the boat, and he was just so excited to get the carbon out and build something and just into it, you know, and I think it was his enthusiasm and just the fact that he just always wanted to learn and questioned and thought about things a lot as well, but kept things pretty simple. So, and obviously, you know, everyone knows Pete. There's his dad in the early years, you know, really, you know, was a real smart man, not necessarily the best sailor, but a really, really good guy, and just ex-teacher, always asked the right questions and all that. And actually, lucky enough, in August last year, we have a middle school champs called the Ames Games, and, you know, lucky enough to be able to stay down there with Richard and Heather, Pete's parents, and yeah, and And it was great because I could just sit back while Richard took Cam and Cam's mate Alex on, and just, you know, mentored them for 4 or 5 days, and it was awesome.
So it's all about encouragement. It's all about a positive environment, being surrounded by great people. That's actually what makes champions.
Yeah, and learning all the time, and having a learning environment, not necessarily telling kids the answer.
Yeah,
but,
true.
Yeah, getting them to figure it out and learn. And that's the big thing, is like, you know, in the you know, in all environments actually, you know, we're all about learning. And you know, I think most Mike Sanderson said it in his interview, you know, if you surround yourself with better people, you're going to learn more and become better yourself, and that's the secret.
Absolutely. So tell us then, as a coach and as someone who does teach the younger generation, the grassroots sailing, and a kid's come off the water and they've just had one, you know, they've had capsizes, something's broken, and they've come ashore and it's full tantrum. And they're quitting sailing. That's it. I'm done. I'm not going to deal with this sport anymore. What do you do? I mean, as a coach, how do you kind of get around that and explain to them that everyone has to have bad days? What's the mechanism? What's the teaching criteria around that?
Well, you just got to sit down with them and give them a moment to have their tantrum and get it out of their system for sure. But just go and spend some one-on-one time with them. And we have a product in New Zealand called CRC. It's like a WD-40, but CRC actually in coaching means you've got to compliment someone on what they've done well. You know, you've got to recommend something and then compliment them again, you know. So if it's a real bad day, you know, it's like, hey, you look great on the water. You had I loved how your life jacket matched your top. You know, hey, you know, out there it was 30 knots, and you know, when you've got to actually sit out on the side of the boat and try hiking a little bit. That'll help. And hey, it was great that you drank a lot of water, because you know it was pretty tiring out there. So that's the sort of thing that that's how you got to get around it, and just sit with them and spend time. And the other thing is, especially when people are young, like they're trying a whole lot of different sports too. And sailing, you just got to know that not everyone's gonna take to sailing, but you've got to give them the chance.
So what do you say then to all those over enthusiastic parents out there who get cranky at their kids when they've had a bad day, or you know, get on there and, you know, dereg their boat with some anger because the kid has had a bad day? What's your message to parents about how they can help nurture an up and coming young sailor?
Drink rum. No, seriously. So I think you're going to show something a bit later on, a little hiking thing, and you know, that looks cool, eh? But try doing it yourself, because you know, that was the thing. Cam was like, yeah, now it's your turn, and my daughter does it as well, and it's actually quite hard.
Yeah.
You know,
should we show that little video?
Yeah,
although you haven't really answered the question though.
And just for parents to realize how hard it is out there. And all kids actually, especially when they've started racing, are actually trying as hard as they can. There's, in all sports, yeah, they may not be that good at it, but they're giving their best, and that is all anyone can do, is give their best.
Absolutely. Let's show this little video. It's only 17 seconds long, so I might play it twice. And this is the training that you're providing your son during lockdown. I had a real giggle when I saw this the first time. Okay. Let me just give me one moment here.
Started now, Cam. It's that nice little main sheet pump. We should put a weight in the baler. It's all tangled now. Untangle it. Now, Cam.
Yes.
That nice little main sheet pump. We should put a weight in the baler.
No.
It's all tangled now.
We should put a weight in the baler. Seriously?
What was quite funny about that is I had to do it next.
You didn't send me that video.
No, that was pretty hard. But yeah, it was actually quite funny because we got given that hiking bench very luckily. Yeah, another parent's kid didn't really like hiking, so they gave it away, which was cool.
No one likes hiking.
Exactly. And it was actually, you know, hey, how can we do this? And it was yeah, so we built it together a bit, and then, you know, that was Cam's idea with the baling. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
There's actually this one here. I'm just going to show this one because it doesn't have the baling, but this is quite cool. Hang on a second. My little share screen thing has gone. Oh no, here we go. It's just
that looked a beautiful day, eh? There's just a nice light breeze. It would have been beautiful on the water that day.
Oh, it would have been outstanding. Let's
we're doing the right thing, staying at home.
Absolutely. Let's share this one.
The Mistreatment of Kids, part 78. We do 10 reps like this, up and down, 10 bales each side, and 5 minutes hard hiking, just to start the day off right.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're an encouraging father, then some would say.
Oh, exactly. So, you know, if the kid can get through all this, you know, he must really love yachting.
Absolutely. It's so good that I mean, there's heaps of kids out there who are getting involved in sailing in their backyard pool, or just getting dressed up in all of their sailing gear and squirting themselves with a hose, just so that we can feel what it's like being back out on the water, because obviously we're all itching to get back out there.
Actually, I've had a couple of text messages after I shared that one on Facebook. It's like, you're a bad influence. I've just tidied my garage, and now my son's made me do this because he saw Cam doing it. Now he wants to do it. And oh, it's great. I love it. So
it's fantastic.
So, you know, there is a bit of fun and games when I post those things, but it's also, I know that you know, it's going to help out a lot of other people as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But for all the parents that make those things, make sure you try it yourself too, because it's not easy.
It's not easy. Well, I don't have a hiking bench here, or a weight like that, or a pulley system, or a rope. So I'm just going to live vicariously through you guys and watch those, and looking forward to the next little update that you have.
Yeah, you haven't put the M class in the pool?
No, there's no, the M class are all locked up, waiting for us for when we can get out of lockdown. And I think if I mean, this is going to be, I mean, a lot of people might not be happy about this, but for the first time ever, we might do an M-class Logan in the middle of winter.
Oof.
Now, for those that know the class and know the history, M-class don't sail in winter.
Not at all.
So they get packed up and put away. But I'm all for doing a winter Logan. And for those that don't know, that is like an intergalactic Olympic championship for a bunch of old boats and very enthusiastic sailors. But now, just speaking of the Olympics, obviously big changes. Tokyo 2020 will now be run in Tokyo 2021.
Yep.
And you were on a path to do some coaching for that. What's the kind of psyche amongst the sailors now, knowing that they've got over a year to continue their training?
Well, the big thing is all the athletes are actually leaders in the sport and in the community. So the first thing is, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's actually true, is really, you know, wanting to make sure, you know, we get through this whole thing and we all stay at home and we all get better, and just happy that there's a bit of certainty around dates and stuff now. So there were big pushes for the Olympics to get postponed, and then they did, and then we didn't know dates. It could have been any time, but now the dates are known. we can do a little bit of planning around things. Still a little bit hard. We don't know when there's other regattas, or for example in New Zealand, when our border restrictions will get lifted. They may not get lifted at all, and that there could be some changes around that. So the taking a bit of time, which we have now. You see on all the Facebook and Instagram, there's the sailors are really looking after their fitness and mental health and all that sort of thing. So there's, firstly, I think, a lot of relief for the sailors that and all the athletes that they've done the postponement, and now it's around the planning and also seeing that it's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to get even in one more year, how much better can you be? So yeah, there's always opportunities there.
So you definitely think it is a positive thing, and it won't hinder a lot of sailors, training progression, like reaching their peak?
Now, for the sailors, it's all about, fighting this virus and making sure everyone's healthy. So that's the number one thing. And you can always change what you're doing. So for certain, it's not a hindrance at all. When it first got announced, I'm sure that a few of the athletes were like, oh yeah. And but yeah, especially in New Zealand, our sailors are really dynamic and are really flexible and real used to changing their plans. So yeah, that's an opportunity more than anything, for sure.
And New Zealand still has to decide who is going to take the fin spot.
Yes, yep. So that's going to be important, and I think the various committees will be meeting and talking about that, and talking with the athletes and all that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a few spots up for grabs, and just need to wait and get a little more certainty on upcoming regattas and all that sort of thing. But yeah, for sure, yeah, there's a few things like that.
Oh, no doubt we'll all be waiting with bated breath on that one. Now, there's something else that you mentioned a little bit earlier about a new junior class that's coming into here in New Zealand. And I'm just going to show and share that image. And then I'm going to get you to give us a bit of a talk through what this actually is. Just give me one moment. Oh, it's just gone off my screen. Hang on.
There it is.
There it is there.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this new design.
So this is called the F8 foiler. So this is down in Christchurch. This is in Diamond Harbour. So I grew up in Christchurch, and my father lives up the hill on the other side there in Christchurch itself. And this is designed by a naval architect called Dan Leach, Leach Boats. And it's called an F8 because it's 8 feet long, and it's basically a foiler for juniors, for kids that are 25, 30 kilos up to 55 kilos, and it's going to help with the progression into other classes after this, a wasp, a moth, and all that sort of thing. So the reason why Dan came up with the design is he's got 2 young kids too. One's just starting out, Jonty Leach, Johnson Racing, and old Johnson gets pretty bored in the Opti, even though he's only about 6 years old and about as high as your knee. He loves going fast and loves being in the motorbike. So Dan was like, there must be a shed load of other kids like this as well. How can we make it fun, and how can we advance their progression a bit? So came up with this idea, and this is actually to complement the other foilers around. So when you're small, as I said, old Johnson Racing is as high as your knee, and he can't lift a wasp into the water, or when it capsizes, get it upright. So this is going to be a kids foiler, and it's this is the prototype, and I've just been doing the molds and all that sort of thing, and they're actually just waiting on the sails and tramps.
So how does this particular foiler then differ from the Wasp? Because we've seen a lot of young kids get into the Wasp, and they do have a smaller rig and a smaller sail for the kids that are a lot lighter. So how is this boat going to be
So
any different to that?
it's a lot smaller. So it is basically around 100 to 200 mil longer than an Opti. So it's a small boat.
Yeah.
And it's a way more manageable. I jumped into the Wasp, not long ago, and when they first came out, actually, and things were a little bit heavy. Decent design, and heaps of people racing them, but they're just a little bit big for what they are. So this is the sail that's been designed by a guy called Andrew Lecty, one of our top One Design designers at Doyle's. But this is actually quite funny in a way, quite bad as well. But the sail had just been laid up Monday just after lunch. Lunch finishes at 12:30 at Doyle's, and they're just sticking it up. And in New Zealand, we have a 1 o'clock update from the government, and about 1:15, our Prime Minister said we're going into lockdown. So they actually had to unstick the sail, because if you leave it stuck up and not sewed, it's not good. So they had to then unstick it, and once lockdown's over, it's going to be one of the first sails built for as soon as lockdown's over, and we'll get it down to Dan and get the boat going.
So who's going to be the lucky sailor that gets to have a first go of this boat?
I'd say it'll be Dan's son, Will, first off, and then his younger son, Jonty. They'll be the first two, and I'm sure there'll be a few beers on the deck of Charters Bay Yacht Club when that happens.
So for a boat like this, do you know sort of what price point where they're aiming at?
They're looking as close to around 10,000 New Zealand dollars as possible. So the final prices haven't come out yet, but that's what he was suggesting. So don't take my word on it, but that was his aim, to make it affordable as well.
And how many is he planning on making? How many orders are in?
Well, it hasn't even been sailing yet, and I know that he's got an order. He's got around 10 people, that are pretty damn definite on it. So we've got to build. Once the prototype's all sorted out and we've got the final design, we'll be building 10 sails pretty quickly.
So what do you think then is the progression for a young sailor? Opti, FA?
No, it depends really, because we've had a few guys that in New Zealand and around the world that Blair Took, for example, he's pretty famous. We talked about Pete Burling before, but
who's this person?
Yeah, Blair, exactly.
Oh, Blair. That guy.
Famous for a mullet or something like that. But he never really did Opti. I think he may have done it learn to sail. I might be wrong there, and he's turned out all right.
He's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. But it's usually Opti. There's the open skiff there, but as I said before, just getting into as many classes you can. Like jump into a double-handed as early as you can. There could be some local classes in your country that you can do. Like in New Zealand, we've got the P class as well, and get in, and each boat will teach you something different, which you'll be able to take back to the boat that you're normally sailing. So
you've just said that get into as many boats as possible. I mean, money doesn't grow on trees. How can a parent facilitate this kind of thing, then getting their kids into as many boats as possible? When you have a look at the cost factor. Yeah,
well, there's always people willing to help. So the P class that Cam's got is actually owned by my father, and it was my boat way back in the day. How long I did, I think, I can't even remember what it was. I think it was the 91 and 92 Nationals. So we sold it on to a couple of people, and I think he bought it back in 97, 98. And we've lent it out ever since then, So there's people, I know you had AJ and Will on, and they've got a pretty damn good, it used to be a 37-foot boat, you know, it's a 39 footer, 40 footer, and
40
they're
foot now.
always taking, you know, younger, keen sailors out. And the
Mm.
sunburst I've taken, you know, I don't know how many kids we've taken out, and there's always people willing to help out and you know, jump on a boat if you're keen. People are willing to help you.
You've just got to ask the question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a young sailor, Ben Beasley, and he just did the Round North Island race with his sailing buddy Nick Gardner.
Yep.
And I heard a lot of stories about Ben, but that he just used to walk down a marina dock as a 13, 14-year-old kid, 12-year, actually even 12 or 13, and say, "Hey, can you please take me sailing? My dad said it's okay."
Yeah.
And he found himself onto boats. And then I think it was one person said, "Are you sure your parents know where you are?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, yep. No, I'm good. So
I know Ben well, so I coached Ben. He was out Maraetai Way and came to Koei, and so yeah, I knew Ben really well from sort of 11 to 16, 17, doing his dinghy thing, and I'm sure I was a little bit of the encouragement to, hey, just get yourself on a boat, just go down there, your parents will love it, that's fine. So yeah, it's exactly right. There's so many stories like that.
and that what at 19 years old, he's just done the Round North Island race. You know, I mean, it's outstanding. It just goes to show that you don't necessarily have to go through the typical kids classes to find yourself on the world stage.
Oh, exactly. You know, there's so many ways of doing it. And I think I'm sure Mike did say, you know, like we've got some guys and girls and at Doyle's on the floor who are really talented at sail making, and they're actually people that, you know, that people see that and they, you know, they're taken up all the time, and you know, away here, there and everywhere, always yachting. And you know, all of those guys and girls didn't come up through the typical way. And you know,
give us some examples of those people that you're talking about, because I mean, obviously I know a few of them as well, but yeah, just give us a rundown of a couple of those sailors that have started out as an apprentice on the floor, who have now gone on to do some great things in sailing.
So there's a few people. So there was Max South. So Max is from Dunedin, and moved up and started off, and now he's basically full-time pro sailing. He got taken on by the Boges team and doing that sort of thing. It's a guy called Taylor Below. He was working in all our service lofts and all that, and yeah, he's never around. Like, yeah, we have a bit of a standard joke that I'm always away at a regatta or something like that, but Taylor seems to be away more than I am. So, you know, and they're just two, but there's many of them, and there's a few guys and girls. If I was going to sort my do a campaign myself, there'd be a few of them I'd be taking for sure.
You've got Alison Kent as well, who does the Anarchy program, but she also did a leg of the maiden voyage around the world as well, and she's done Hobart's, and yeah, she's on her way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So who is it that actually, I mean, we've all got our childhood heroes, our sailing childhood heroes. So who was your sailing childhood hero?
Mine's a little bit different. Mine, so they were actually mentors of mine. So I was real lucky, as I talked about the environment before, you know, growing up in Christchurch and all that sort of thing. And two of my biggest heroes were actually brothers called Peter and Graham Mander. And I was so lucky to be coached by Graham and mentored by Graham massively, actually. So you know, back in the P class days, he got a couple of bits of PVC pipe and on my P class, and we made a boom jack one day and things like that. And the reason why he did that is just to, you know, show me if you hold the boom up, you know, your leech can twist off and all this sort of thing. And pretty complicated for a 13-year-old boy to sort of know at the time. But, you know, and then just realizing when people were telling me stories about them and you know, how famous they actually were, that was pretty cool, you know. And then growing up, you know, people that sort of touched our sort of lives, which, you know, we had Dean Barker come down and people like that, and you're just following through those guys, but no real heroes. The probably the biggest hero was a local back when I was real young, and that was a guy called Matt Stishman. Gave me some great quotes that I can't quite say here, you know, something about playing with spiders and all that sort of thing. There'll be a few people laughing right now knowing exactly what I mean, but yeah, Matt was a legend. And
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Matt was just, he took us and yeah, coached us a lot. So yeah, that was pretty amazing actually. And just he, again, another hard, you know, I grew up in a pretty hard family, being my dad was a fisherman, so yeah, and then yeah, he was a pretty hard coach, which was pretty good. And then, you know, I'm surrounded by legends now, and I even see you know, some of the kids I even admire, you know, now that, you know, and seeing their progression, and you just sort of, everyone that's doing it sort of my hero. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
So what's next after lockdown? What's the plan? What's the first thing you guys are going to do?
Oh, probably go and get a pizza. And then after that, yeah, we'll just be hitting the water and doing a bit of yachting and yeah, got a few things going. It's going to be a little bit hard because just knowing when regattas will be, and you know, we're going into winter, but just going out there and enjoying it for sure.
So the message that I've heard you say throughout this entire thing is just enjoy it and just have fun.
Yeah, and learn as well. Learn. That's the, you've lost me again.
And we've lost you in your background.
Yeah, yeah, and just learn. That's probably the biggest thing is, Graham Mann gave me a quote which I never understood until I got a bit older. He goes, "Hey kid, the more you learn, the more you realize you need to learn." And I didn't really get it, you know, because I thought when I was 14 or 15 years old, I just got, you know, fourth in the Tanner Cup, and I thought I was pretty awesome, you know, I knew it all. And, you know, and I'm still learning today, you know, as a coach. You know, then as I said, I was coaching when I was 1994. I wasn't really coaching. I didn't know what the heck coaching was then. And, you know, just learning all the time. And I think that's a big secret in yachting is if you've got that learning mentality, you're always going to be learning, you know, and you know, just, and that's what I was meaning back in the time with, you know, Pete just frothing over things because he was learning all the time, and you see that, and having Richard there, you know, helping out and all that, and that's why I enjoyed that trip down to Tauranga all the time, because, you know, just reconnected with that and saw my own kid learning heaps there and all that sort of thing. So if you're learning, having fun, enjoying it, you're going to go far, for sure.
It's a pretty good message. And that message to parents who get a little bit crazy on the shore, what's your message to them again?
Have a run before they get in. Once you know they've had a bad day, calm down, and then just think how actually hard it is yourself. You know, if you were out there yourself in 30 knots by yourself at 15, sailing a boat by yourself, you know, just take that into consideration. And if your kids had a bad day, think about, hey, how can they learn from it? And they're not going to learn from it if you're going a bit NATO.
No one needs a NATO parent on shore.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It is quite entertaining for other parents to watch you though, so you know, that's quite cool.
I've seen a few meltdowns happen on shore. They can be quite humorous, but then again, it sort of doesn't really do much to keep the encouragement levels up. So
Exactly.
everyone just be calm, just chill out. It's okay. They're kids. They're allowed to have mistakes.
Exactly.
So, and what's next for One Design for Doyle Sails?
Well, I would going through this lockdown, I work quite closely with a guy called Andrew Lecty, who's a designer, and we've just been catching up on a few designs, doing a few little redesigns, P-class and all sorts, and just going through there, and then just looking forward to getting out there and helping people out. Our Opti sales going real well, even better now. And this is just giving us time to tweak things and help out. And I think there's actually another video that's going to get made when we're allowed to make a new video. So
Yes,
that's pretty cool too.
Yep, and I think I know the one you're talking about, the Opti tuning guide. Yeah, we did one a couple of years ago, and we kind of missed last year, but we need to get one out for the new generation Opti Sails.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's going to be cool, and it's quite awesome, like surrounding myself in there, because I'm learning stuff all the time from people like Andrew and all that, like just legends on that design front. So that's pretty
Never
cool.
stop learning.
Exactly.
And what's the next sailing event that you actually hope to take part in yourself?
Well, it's quite funny, flying back from Spain. The 470 World's just been cancelled, and we actually had to run through Barcelona airport. We had 20 minutes from landing until the gate closed, and then our plane was delayed, so we ran through Barcelona airport and got on the plane from Barcelona to Dubai. And my biggest excitement was, hey, I'm going home, and I'm going to be home in time for the Sunburst Nationals. Unfortunately, they got cancelled, but I'm sure there'll be a Sunburst event on, once we're out of lockdown, and it could be a club event or something like that. The coolest event I did just before I went away was the Wakateri Club Champs in the Sunburst, and I sailed with my daughter, and again, she's not through the Opti, not really that keen, but man, she's a great sailor. So if I can keep her in sailing somehow, that's going to be pretty awesome. Because
hopefully you've got all the skills to do that.
Yeah, exactly. She's a challenge, though. She's a challenge.
Fantastic. Hey, Brownie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning and go through a couple of those little videos and show how you're keeping the kids entertained during lockdown. And like all the best for whatever coaching you've got coming up towards the end of the year. Hopefully we can get back to normal soon. Yeah, thank you. I am looking forward to getting back to normal, but whatever normal will be after this. Yeah, the new normal. That's what I know. Fantastic. All right, so everybody, thank you. This is Andrew Brown, Doyle Sails expert from One Design, coach, trying to find himself in the picture again. You got a little light on your face. Yeah. It's got sunny again here. It's beautiful. A little bit overcast where I am now. I had a little bit of rain this morning, but that's okay. You might be able to get back out onto the hiking bench again. Yeah, have fun with that. Exactly. Awesome. Hey, look, it's been a great morning. Thank you so much. And we look forward to catching up with everybody again for our next Doyle Live. We've also got some Live Sail Die Live stuff coming up. And just stay tuned to both those Facebook pages, and we'll let you know what's in store next. Cheers, awesome. Everyone. Thanks, Brownie. Thanks, everybody.